Hey Aries, this is a look at the January 29 eclipses that occurred for us earlier this year in the astrology that was going on in the sky at the time. This is our 3-month check-in from the time of these eclipses. The first that I want to speak to you about is the new moon solar eclipse that occurred on the 5th of the month, depending on where you live on the planet, 5th or 6th. This was a solar eclipse that occurred at 15 degrees of Capricorn. This is also where Saturn and Pluto have been making a long-term transit through. The moon and the sun were also in the same spot. So a lot of focus in the 10th house for you, Aries. The 10th house, if I could speak, the 10th house is the house that I attribute to the William Shakespeare quote, "All the world is a stage." It is the stage that the world knows you on through your career, your status, your reputation. You're dealing with authority figures and like authority figures in their field of expertise. The 10th house is also the house of destiny. So a lot of planetary focus and energy in that 10th house, paying attention to your career, paying attention to your status. You had two cards that flew out of the deck. Let me cut. I'll pull the bottom card. Top 3 for clarity for this first eclipse. For the second eclipse, I'm going to pull from the Lenormand deck. But the first eclipse, we're going to do with the tarot. I'll also pull a animal spirit oracle card for you from the Colette Baron Reed deck. It's a new deck to me. I got it while I was on hiatus from the channel, but was still looking for things to help give more information when I did start back. So let's pull from this deck for y'all. This is for the solar eclipse in January for my Aries. All right. So 10th house energy, lots of focus. You've got the sun, you've got the moon, you've got Saturn, and you've got Pluto there. All focus, focus, focus in the 10th house, demanding that you do something, relook at it. At 15 degrees of Capricorn, that's halfway through the sign, giving you an opportunity to reflect on what you've done in those first 15 degrees and giving you an opportunity to rechart your course. And if it's not working, then do something different. The Sabian symbol that is for 15 degrees of Capricorn reads, "School grounds filled with boys and girls in gymnasium suits." And from this, you can delineate a few things. We're talking about an institution of learning. The institutions are 12th house energy. And in this solar eclipse, in this new moon solar eclipse, the 10th house was being sextiled by the 12th house. Interesting, right? So this institution of not even higher learning, this institution of learning, a school, when you think about schools and they have clearly defined boundaries and bounds, that's very Saturnian, right? Just the theme of learning, especially with like a headmaster or a principal, or really even like a tough teacher, Saturn. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, so it's just reinforcing this idea. Again, the dress code, a standard, a way that you need to be maintain, right? So focusing this new moon solar eclipse energy, looking through the lens of institutions, possibly institution of higher learning, because I misspoke and said that, but institution of learning, and speaking to the themes of fitting in with your group, especially your career group. Aw, you got the butterfly card. is your spirit animal. Transformation is definitely associated with the butterfly. Let's talk about the tarot cards that fell or jumped out of the deck while I was shuffling. We have two major arcana cards, the Death card and the Wheel of Fortune card. The Death card is the 13th card of the major arcana, and it is representative of the sign of Scorpio. And Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. It's also ruled by Mars. But again, the Death card deals with major transformation. Major transformation. It could be metamorphosis as well. But that metamorphosis, that change, that major rebirth is coming to you through the lens of the Wheel of Fortune. And it's interesting because the Wheel of Fortune is the 10th card of the major arcana, and that speaks to the 10th house. That is the house of Capricorn. That is where this solar eclipse occurred. And it's just interesting how that stuff happens. The Wheel of Fortune represents the planet Jupiter. Jupiter right now is in Sagittarius, and that speaks to the 9th house. And while I was talking about the Sabian symbol, I did say an institution of higher learning. The 9th house is higher learning. It's long-distance trips, siblings, cousins. I am going way off on the other end of the spectrum. It's not siblings or cousins. The 9th house is long-distance trips, higher education. It is the study of foreign people, foreign places, foreign things, foreign religions. It's also the study of higher-minded things. It is the study of religion, philosophy, astrology, metaphysics, and legal system matters, or the legal system. For some of you, it is a rebirth or a transformation in your status. For some of you, it is a rebirth or transformation in your career. Your status is many things. It is something that can be changed easily on Facebook as what are you doing? That is your Facebook status. But also, who are you married to? Who do you associate with? Who are you spending your time with? Those relationships, your marital status, your parental status, if you are a parent or possibly becoming one. All of those things, very fluid. It can change quickly. And change has come. For some of you, if you had anything directly hit at 15 degrees of Capricorn, natally or in transit, then you've already felt this. But if not, to the other Aries out there, this is something that you're revisiting about this time right now, thinking about your career, thinking about your status, and thinking about how you can transform it if you don't like what has gone on so far. Now, the bottom card of the deck was the Four of Pentacles. The 4 speaks to that 4th house. If you take the number 13 from the Death card, 1 plus 3 is 4, another 4th house residency. The 4th house is your residency. It is your home, your family. It is your stability, roots, and foundation. This Pentacle card deals with Earth sign energy. That can be Capricorn, again, speaking to this new moon in Capricorn. But it can also speak to Taurus or Virgo as well, or just the earthly plane, material things, resources. And money is a resource, but it's not the only resource that we have. This number 4 also deals with the theme of stability. And the Pentacles, this card deals with issues of stability and security. And if you're looking at your career, if you're looking at your status and you don't feel secure, then you are wanting to make some sort of a change or a transformation. Pardon me. Let me get some tea. So you are wanting to bring some sort of major transformation about, because you could be feeling insecure in one way or another. Now, in the top 3 for clarity, the first card is the 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords very much speaks to me as almost this Neptune sextile to the 10th house. The 8 could speak to that 8th house. That's ruled by Scorpio. We've got some Scorpio resonance in the Death card as well. 8th house is the house of major transformation and metamorphosis. It is the house of life, death, and rebirth. It is the house of the blood and guts of it all, the things that we wouldn't discuss at, say, the Thanksgiving table. It is the house where the butterfly undergoes the metamorphosis from being a caterpillar to a butterfly. And can you just imagine the perspective shift of what it must be like to start out as a caterpillar and end up as a butterfly? That's something I always think about when talking about the transformation process. The swords deal with air sign energy, that is Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. The Eight of Swords deals with feeling sort of isolated or imprisoned, but this is a prison of your own mind or a prison of your own making. But it also seems like you want to bust out of it, or you're looking back at the fact that you have kind of been in a self-imposed isolation for whatever reason, and are deciding that it's okay and safe for you to possibly shake off these binds that you've put on yourself and to come out of your shell. The 12th house sextile. A sextile is a really, it's an easy flow of energy, an easy exchange of energy. A sextile is where the planets are 60 degrees apart, and it indicates an opening or a new area for growth. It can bring ease and it can bring helpful people. It could be that you've not really seen this helpful individual or this helpful energy for what it is or what it can do for you. And you won't be able to until you take the mask or the blinders off. If it isn't you, Aries, it's someone you're dealing with in a career sort of situation. And I say that because the second card in the top three for clarity is the King of Swords. And if you pair the Eight of Swords and the King of Swords, you could see a marked difference between an individual who has possibly saved themselves. I see this King of Swords as an authority figure. This is, again, reflective of air sign energy and the ability to reason and to use your logic and also your words. This person is a clear-thinking intellectual, and it could be that you've been dealing with situation where you haven't seen the truth for what it is, or you've been in some way betrayed, mistaken, or hoodwinked. But the King of Swords coming in almost feels like a liberator from this situation, cutting away the past to make room for this new rebirth. And another thing that needs to be said is that whenever we have eclipses, and this is even more so for like the total eclipses, it's a change. The number 8 is associated with a theme of change. And when there are changes that come around, sometimes they're chosen, sometimes they're not. But for there to be a new chapter written, there has to be an end to the previous chapter. So even if you didn't choose the ending, even if you didn't have a say in the ending, understand that the ending had to come so that the new could manifest. And speaking to manifestation, for those of you who use astrology for co-creation and timing cycles, this very much also looks like a new moon seed, or possibly fertilized egg. But the King of Swords is cutting away that Eight of Swords, leaving it in the past. The Eight of Swords is in the past position for me. And on the right-hand side, he's clear to move forward. And I say he because it's representative of the king, but that doesn't mean that it's a man. It's just masculine energy. So yeah, the third card in this top three for clarity is the Three of Cups. The 3 speaks to communication. It also speaks to the third house of short distance trips, siblings, cousins, neighbors, and communication devices or your commute. Pardon me. This Three of Cups is about friendship and community. It could be dealing with your neighborhood in some way. Because your status is also tied to where you live, right? Your status is tied to where you live, what you drive, who you know. The cups are associated with water sign energy, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. We've mentioned Scorpio more than once, so there's probably some strong Scorpio energy playing out in the mix for you. So this could be their sun, moon, or rising sign. I'm saying Scorpio because the death card has shown up. I'm saying Scorpio because of this butterfly card, the number 8 being a theme throughout. It doesn't have to be a Scorpio, but it definitely feels like there are some of you that are resonant with the Scorpio energy. Now, this butterfly spirit card, I do not have the book memorized. So what I'm going to do is hit pause and look it up in the book really quick. I will pick out some of the key things that stand out for me so I can share them with you. And I'll see you on the flip side. And we'll talk about the total Blood Moon Lunar Eclipse through the Lenormand deck and the Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle deck. I'll be right back, y'all. Hang tight. Hey, Aries, I'm back. So, like I said, I was going to look up really quick in the book and read out some of the things that were speaking to me very strongly. This butterfly spirit card is the number 11 card of this deck. The number 11 I associate with the 11th house on the astrological wheel. That is the house of Aquarius. It is also like social networking, and that can be face-to-face or through the internet. So this card deals with the theme of transformation is beautiful. The oracle message is indicating that transformation is inevitable as you grow into your most beautiful, empowered self. Indeed, you will go through some uncomfortable stages as you let go of the forms of your life that no longer fit the new you. The protection message that is associated with this card deals with the reminder that transformation does not have to be as traumatic or dramatic as things may seem to be right now. Remember that change is the only true constant, and when you resist it, you create a tension within you that might refuse to accept the inevitable. Understand that surrender will soften you, inviting you to bask in the gratitude and to see through the lens of curiosity. These are the keys to tuning in to the infinite potential available to you now. Butterfly spirit knows the beauty and delight you are on the brink of discovering. Let go and trust that it is there for you. I think that's a pretty beautiful message. I have an Aries sun. My sun is at almost 27 degrees Aries, and it is in the 5th house. And when I was a very young child, I used to tell my mom that I wanted to be a butterfly when I grew up so that I could have butterfly babies. I shit you not. So let's talk about the Blood Moon Lunar Eclipse now. On the 21st of the month, we had a total Blood Moon Lunar Eclipse at 0 degrees of Leo. This is a powerful reset of the heart and the heart chakra. Now, the sun is still going to be in Capricorn, that 10th house, but no, I think we just moved into Aquarius. I think the sun had just moved into Aquarius. I may have written my notes wrong. It's fine. It went from Capricorn to Aquarius at around this time, regardless. The 0 degree total Blood Moon Lunar Eclipse occurred in your 5th house, and there was a square to Uranus in Aries, and this was the 1st house. Mars was also in this placement, or in the house of Aries. So we've got a total Blood Moon Lunar Eclipse squaring Uranus and Mars in Aries. 5th house. 5th house of Leo deals with the art. It's like the artist's house because it's where the creative spark is. But it's also where you create your babies. It's where you fall in love. It's the spark of life. It is the spark of romance and the spark of creation. I like to think of it as the house where you have the most skin in the game. This is your social life. This is where you go to blow off steam. This is where you go to be a kid and where you go to act like a kid. This is also a house that could be speaking to your childhood. So for some of you, the total blood moon lunar eclipse could have been a powerful time for you to assess childhood issues, or for some of you, you may be, again, like I said, becoming pregnant. Not all of you, but some of you. That 5th house is where we create our children. And if you are a parent or will become a parent one day, your children are the greatest creation that you can have. Now, the Sabian symbol that is associated with 0 degrees Leo is blood rushes to a man's head as his vital energies are mobilized under the spur of ambition. So, I'm going to pull some cards for you from the Lenormand deck. The Lenormand deck I used in the March series, and I'm sorry that the audio was not very good. The day that I uploaded it, Mercury was conjunct Neptune, and that probably wasn't the best thing. Pre-retrograde shadow in Pisces. Thank you to those of you who understood, and I hope this mic is doing a better job. I'm going to still upgrade, but this is a happy medium until then. So Lenormand deck cards are out. Let me shuffle for you the Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle deck. So we had a square from the 5th house to the 1st house. 1st house is the house of Aries, traditionally. It is the house of you, your body, your personality, and your appearance. So the 5th house and the 1st house, there's a square. It could be romantic situations. For those of you who aren't dealing with, like, pregnancy, it could have been, like, if the relationship wasn't right, then it was, like, a blow-up or has recently come to a head sort of thing. Let's see what we can talk about with the total blood moon lunar eclipse at 0 degrees of Leo. Now, the Sabian symbol, the blood rushes to a man as his vital energies are mobilized under the spur of ambition, can be delineated a couple of things as well. Blood rushing to the head, blood I see is very Mars. The rushing could be Uranus because it's shocking and you have to use the circuitry of the body for blood to rush. To the head, that's very Aries. Mobilizing, again, Mars. Ambition, Mars. Drive, Mars. So it's a tug of war showing up in this square. A square is 90 degrees apart, and it is a hard aspect that presents a difficulty or a choice between the planets that are brought up. So it is a tug of war between the moon, your emotional reactions, your mental state, versus Uranus and Mars. Okay. So the bottom card that I pulled for you from the Lenormand deck is the Fish card. The Fish card is, well, it's the 34th card of the Lenormand deck. 3 plus 4 is 7. That speaks to the 7th house on the astrological wheel. That's the house of Libra, dealing with partnership, collaboration, and open enemies, open beef, open, like, litigation. The fish represent business, represents resources, it represents money. It also has a delineation or an association with the King of Diamonds. The diamonds are also associated as coins or pentacles in the tarot, so this card could also be looked at through the lens of the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is an authority figure, earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, who is disciplined and controlling, but is able to provide a stable avenue of resources. This is material resources, but resources aren't just money, it's also other things. But the money card, or the fish card, is always a nice card to have pop up because, yeah, Fifth house is also the house of the entrepreneur. So some of you may be deciding that you want to get a business for yourself. And that's another thing that I didn't even think about. But now looking at these cards kind of jumps out and makes sense. In the top three for clarity that I pulled for this reading. And I will read it all together because the Lenormand kind of works together. You read the symbols together. Anyways, it's difficult to describe, but I'm getting better at it. The Scythe card, Scythe, however you want to pronounce it. This is the 10th card of the Lenormand deck. 10 speaks to the house of Capricorn, where we had that solar eclipse earlier in the month. This card deals with work, like hard work, cutting to the root hard work. It can deal with cuts, it can deal with accidents, and sometimes evil. Some of you may have been cut from like a job or dealing with a job loss. Didn't make the cut, something to that effect. We've got the Jack of Diamonds as well down here, and that could be the Page or the Knight of Diamonds. That would be Pentacles in the tarot deck. So we've got Pages and Knights are known for messages, being a messenger, motion, or movement. The Pentacles, again, are signs. So you're thinking a lot about money. This card deals with being a manifester. It could be new enterprise. I was talking about being an entrepreneur. But for you to manifest that, you're going to have to get your routine down, and you're going to have to be efficient and cut your to-do list down to the bare bones so that you can focus on what you want to focus on to give yourself more time for this creation or this manifestation process. You probably started undertaking at the beginning of the month with this new moon in Capricorn. New moon solar eclipse, which is like a new moon on steroids. The second card in the top three for clarity in this Lenormand deck is the Sun. And the Sun is the 31st card. It deals with, well, 3 plus 1 is 4. It may be like a home business for some of y'all, because 4 deals with the house. It's home and family. It's stability, roots, and foundation. The Sun card in the Lenormand deck speaks to the idea of success, triumph, and holiday. We have another Diamond Pentacle coin card. This is the Ace of Pentacles, so there's potential here. It's potential, but you're going to have to work really hard, is what the cards are saying. Again, prosperity and manifestation, an opportunity, a chance. But this 8, well, the Mountain, which also shows up as the 8 of Clubs, which would be the 8 of Wands. 8 speaks to change. That has been a theme throughout the reading so far. The 8 of Wands, 8 is a change. Wands, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This is a total blood moon lunar eclipse in Leo. So this is an Aries reading speaking about a Leo eclipse. Mountain represents challenges, issues, problems. It's like this rebirth, this new enterprise, this new business opportunity, this new whatever it is coming because of some challenge. It's coming because of some major difficulty that has kind of gotten in the way. Because the 8 of Wands speaks to the idea of movement, travel, and change. It could be that some of you may be forced into moving home. Not like moving home to your parents. Some of you it may be, but you may have to move your home. For some of you, it could be like natural disaster sort of stuff. I would say flooding or water-related issues, not just like massive flooding coming and washing it away, but like water damage, and then there's that sort of thing. Because this is like cutting it away, getting to the bottom of it. the Mountain. 21st card of the Lenormand deck, 2 + 1 is 3. That again speaks to your neighborhood, your vehicle, your commute, your communication devices. It's siblings, cousins, neighbors, people in your neighborhood. Difficulty, issues, and problems in that area. So that it could possibly lead to travel, change, or movement, or kind of be like, we need to get out of here. Forcing that change again. The Sage Goddess Gemstone Oracle card that I pulled for you for the second portion of the reading is Rainbow Moonstone, that deals with the theme of optimism, vitality, and inner peace. It helps heal and amplify the vibration of the third eye and crown chakra. Rainbow Moonstone awakens the rainbow body of light within, kindling your life force energy and spreading harmony throughout the aura. You've pulled this card because you're in need of enthusiasm, appreciation, and deeper alignment. Meditate with Rainbow Moonstone to embrace inner peace, achieve chakra alignment, and experience newfound joy in life. For some of you, it could be that you are having that sort of rebounding spirit and finding a joy in life again. For some of you, you've really had to dig deep to find that joy. And you felt kind of very alone. It's very interesting how the Scythe or Scythe, however, these two cards could also be read as mirrored against one another. It's like you're going to have to dig deep to get out of this self-imposed prison. Working hard, toiling, getting to the heart of the matter. And by doing that, you'll find success. Some of you have really had to work very hard, and that mountain has been very big. And on the other side of it, it looks like business resources and money will be coming to you through one way or another, and it could be through that 8th house of life, death, and rebirth. The 8th house is also the house of other people's money, and that can be anything from insurance payouts to inheritance to scholarships, loans, bursaries, lottery winnings. It's money that comes to you not by your hourly earned wage, not by your hand. Has to be approved. So that's what I'm seeing, and I hope you enjoyed this reading. A lot has gone on, and I hope that you find some validation, information, confirmation, and inspiration from this reflective reading on what occurred back in January when we had the eclipses, Aries. I hope you're well. I'm sending you a lot of love. Please take care of yourself and please be kind to yourself. These eclipses have been something else. 2018 was not very kind to a lot of people, and we are shaking off the dust still. So take care. I will see you soon. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe if you want to see when I post. Hit the bell. And if you want to follow me on other modes of social media, I'm pretty active on Twitter. You can follow me at sweetteaastro. And yeah, I think that's all I've got for right now. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon, Aries. Take care. I love y'all. Bye.